Hi everyone, good day, and welcome with me, your host Kenton Augustine. It is a Sunday, and if it's Sunday, guess what? It is Easy Swimming Pool Answers, the place to be where we seek to answer all of your questions. And guess what, guys? Today we have a wonderful program in store just for you. A Power Pack program is going to be fantastic, fantabulous, and therefore you need to tell a friend, share the link, FaceTime them, WhatsApp them, WeChat, do something, invite someone. They cannot afford to miss this program. You know why? Because today, if you want to transform and, as we say, breathe a new ethos, a new life into your outdoor space, today's show is just for you. Guess what? We have a special guest today. And he's going to be going through, advanced waterproofing technology. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. And if not, time to get excited. Share the link. Tell someone you're on. Our guest today, his name is Christopher Gates. Christopher Gates. Now, Christopher Gates, he has been involved in architectural, aquatic designs and installation worldwide. All right, including rooftop projects, lazy rivers, fountains, water sculptures, and waterscapes such as the legendary Caesar's Palace fountains and more. All right, Christopher obtained the prestigious gold level in the original Genesis 3 movement and has taught at various levels, including at industry leading educational events and at colleges as an adjunct faculty. Christopher has earned certificates in advanced hydrology, design, and construction. Currently, guess what? He is developing a two-level course in what? Waterproofing design. Why? For accreditation. Amazing. His works have won awards and has been seen in various publications, including the Luxury Pools magazines. Currently, Christopher represents Revolutionary Products, Skin Microplaster, and today we're talking about that. On-deck waterproofing, yes, and aquatic techniques, graphene-infused fiberglass pools. He is a busy man. All right. Christopher has studied at the Minneapolis College of Arts and Design and Fine Art and Theoretical Art at the University of Minnesota. Christopher has been married 29 years. He's a family man to his wife, Susan Gates, and he has two children, Nicholas Gates and Natalie Gates, all of whom are engaged in the aquatic and swimming pool industry. So today our guest comes with a wealth of information in the swimming pool industry, all right? And he's here to share with us, and feel free as we go along today to ask your questions, get them answered. And that's why we're here today, to share with you this wonderful product. I've seen them up close, I've touched them, they're just fantastic products. And you are going to be blown away by what these products can do. So stay tuned as we we go to our first ad, and then we go and meet Mr. Christopher Gates. Don't go anywhere, invite a friend. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Kenton, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Fine, fine. Glad to have you on today. Glad to have you on today. So today we are here and we are in for, I know we're going to in for a treat. How has your day been going so far?
Well, it's going really great now. Listening to all that groovy music leading into your show, it's making me smile. How can you not smile?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, going through your bio is exciting because it tells me that you are someone who has invested time and thought into what you do, and therefore I'm so glad that you're on today to share with us and to share with the audience your experiences and of course to talk about your wonderful products. A while ago, we just saw a video of a couple pools there, and those pools were done with the skin, isn't it?
They were done with skin microplaster, and the two pools you just showed are in Capri, Italy, where
Okay.
we're finishing lots of beautiful residents. There's actually a guy in Capri on one of his pools. Trying to figure out how much I should or shouldn't say, but he has a burrow on his patio, a sculpture, an original sculpture of a donkey, right? With a
Yes.
child standing on the back looking off at the sea. And then behind the burrow on the patio, guess what? A little bit of the burrow's waste, except for its solid gold. It is mounted in his patio. Chunks of gold under the burrow's rear end.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my.
It's
Well,
awesome.
I guess he's King Solomon, baby.
Yeah, well, if you have money to burn, you might as well defecate gold, I guess.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So tell us about um I mean skin. What exactly is skin?
Well, skin was developed by the best swimming pool waterproofer in the industry, a guy named Vito Mariano, and he has a company called Basecrete
Mm,
Industries. And Basecrete, so when you build a swimming pool, it's a concrete swimming pool or any kind of swimming pool, it should be waterproofed. And people usually build a swimming pool and put plaster in it, and then that's not the best practice that we have with our technology of this era, 2023. So Vito Mariano and Basecrete, they have developed this Basecrete that does over probably almost 2,000 pools per month, where they put the concrete in the ground and then they put the waterproofing over it, and then they put the pool plaster on top of that, so that the pool is really waterproof because the pool plaster doesn't hold water completely, and neither does the concrete. And inside the concrete, what's inside there is the steel and everything that's holding the pool together. And what's in the pool is the swimming pool water and then the swimming pool chemicals. And ultimately, they leak kind of like, when you get the nice roses for your wife and it's in the green block, it's in the green block in the bottom
yes.
of the vase. And that's what concrete pools are like. They're like that green block. They're soaked with water, but they're still strong. But the
Mm,
water is still soaking in that block, holding the roses where they belong.
right.
So Vito invented this waterproofing for the swimming pools, and that's fantastic. And people always said, Vito, can we just leave this Basecrete in there? And well, it's kind of rough, and it's made also to be a bond coat to hold the plaster on. And so Vito has been working for many, many years, inventing this thing called skin microplaster. And
Yes.
so my wife Susan and I were lucky enough to partner with Vito on the project, and we're taking the pool industry. And the vision is, and the invention is, that the skin microplaster is a beautiful, soft. People say it feels like peach fuzz on when you rub a peach. It feels like that as it is towards concrete. So it's
Mm-hmm.
amazingly soft feeling, and it's
Yes.
also the full power of the Basecrete science, and it waterproofs the entire pool. Just there, it's one thing. It's a finish and a waterproofing.
Oh wow. Now that is a first. If I'm not mistaken, right? That's a first in the industry.
It is the first in the industry, and as far as I know, it's the only microplaster that is waterproofing that there is in the world at this point.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand. I'm not sure in the islands how it's going, but in the United States, this whole genre of micro cement is just kind of emerging. In Europe and other places where they're revamping and preserving all these multi-thousand-year-old architectural amazements. They've been using micro cements of different sorts for quite a while, and
Mm-hmm.
they're really magical because they're so thin. There's not quite, but close to as thin as your skin, and they go on top of existing concrete and they help hold it together. And so, what Vito invented is very amazing, and it does all those things, but it's also waterproofing, and it's in many brilliant colors, and it's beautiful. And so that's his dream, and our goal is now to get everyone to know how valuable it is in their swimming pool and their backyard project. In fact, a lot of people in Italy, they're getting their pools redone in skin, and then they're actually wanting it done on their hallways from the pool into the bathrooms,
Wow.
all the way down into the master room, and it feels so nice. You felt it many times,
Yes.
and actually, a lot of the wives, I was going to say, sorry to sound sexist, but the women just walk by and touch the skin over and over. Not my skin, the skin. Unfortunately, I'm talking about the samples on the tiles, not me. But so they're getting the skin put on their master bedroom floors, and so they get out of bed in the morning and they put their feet down, and you know how nice it feels. So it's really a great product, and it's really being put in a lot of projects.
Right. Now, someone asked me a question earlier on, and they wanted to know. I'm not sure if he's listening, but if he's not, his question was, in the islands, we tend to add to our concrete waterproofing material, maybe compost, something like that. Do we need to do we need to do any additives to the concrete before we apply the skin, or is it?
Well, I'm really glad to hear you guys. Your practice is to add products to the concrete to help waterproof it because that's only good to do that. And if people do add those products like an Accuron kind of a product or something into the cement mix as it's mixing in the trucks, they
Yes.
put in these liquids and it helps densify and keep the water out. And we'll definitely work on those, but you don't need to do that with the Microsoft Skin. I mean, with the Skin Microplaster because because it does waterproof it. It's a cementitious membrane waterproofing, and it goes
Mm-hmm.
right into the concrete. And actually, this all the guys here call it the magic milk that mixes with these really beautiful, colorful powders, and it,
Mm-hmm.
it goes into the pores of the concrete and seals it off completely. And actually, the skin in Italy has we've been developing it for 5 years, and well, we've been developing it for 7 years in Italy, and got the recipe down. In the last 5 years, we've been applying all the pools like the ones you showed in Capri, and in Italy, we got a rating of vapor proof. So it's not only waterproof, but Skin Microplaster is vapor proof.
What that
Now,
means?
all this, yeah, now all of a sudden, the wellness movements you've heard about and for our health and construction materials in our houses. And
Mm-hmm.
now we're speaking to a boutique wellness hotel that's being constructed about putting the Skin Microplaster on all the room's walls. So
Mm.
now anything they use to build the house, any glues, adhesives, formaldehydes coming from the woods and whatnot, they can't even get into the room because it's vapor proof. Pretty
Mm.
amazing.
Wow. So this product is really and truly in a class by itself. So no more do we need to add anything to the concrete to waterproof it. We just apply the skin. How thick does it goes on the skin?
Well, as its name is, it's microplaster. So first of all, we have two parts to the component. Should you need it, the first part is called skin foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot like makeup. If you ever been in a play or anything in high school, and you put on the
Mm-hmm.
first thing on your face, and you get rid of all, our own natural uglinesses and make it all look really good, and then we put the makeup on after that. And I think probably there's bases that women use too before they put on the beautiful makeup and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's skin foundation, and that can go in first and fill in lots of holes and pits and make everything very, very smooth. And that is also waterproof or waterproofing. And then you put the skin microplaster on, and depending on the colors you choose, it can be as thin as 1 millimeter, which is in
1 millimeter?
1 millimeter. If you like the way the color is with the foundation, then it's waterproof. But the rule of thumb is that switching back to imperial, 1/8 of an inch, two coats at 1/16, and then skin independently is waterproof.
So technically, you were saying to me, I mean, currently right now, if we are doing a renovation, and we have Diamond Bright on there, we have coping tiles already. Normally, we will cut away about 12 inches or 6 inches of diamond bright so we can come back flush with the tiles. How does this apply in this case? Do we need to go the same process or is it a bit different?
What is a bit different. So, if you go 6 inches down or 12 inches down from your waterline tile, you cut back in, more or less the depth of the existing diamond bright or other plaster they have on there. Frequently, that's a quarter inch or a half inch thick. And then you chip it down and you try to get rid of the change in elevation
Mm-hmm.
the new plaster goes over. And with skin microplaster, since a full application is only an eighth inch thick, you just have to go in a little bit under the waterline tile and then bevel it down with a diamond wheel. And it's like maybe 1/20th of the labor to do it because you don't
Wow.
have to cut in a half inch and then chip it down with your hammer drill and chip it down. And you just have to go in a little bit. If the plaster is really solidly adhered to the concrete shell in the whole pool, then you don't even have to remove it. If you have areas that are hollow, and I think a lot of the guys drag a 6 foot chain around behind them in the pool, and as you drag it
Yes,
around, you can hear a difference when it gets hollow.
that's
And
correct.
so, if it's already come away from the concrete pool, then you want to knock it out. I call it hollows. Those are called hollows in my
Yeah.
vocabulary. And then so you knock out your hollows, and the plaster that's adhered well, then you can leave it there, and then you can fill the hollows with what I was talking about earlier, the skin foundation,
Right.
and just go around all the orifices where the water gets sucked from and where the water gets blown back in the pool from. I'm not sure who's listening if they know pools or not, but so the returns and the suction side fittings, and you just grind a little bit away so you can get an eighth inch in there to blend the skin microplaster to the fittings.
Somebody asked a question there, and and they ask, what's the lifespan of the skin?
Well, we don't know yet because it is, industry speaking, it's pretty new. The oldest pool I've been in that has skin microplaster in it is 5 years old. And that's kind of as old as the finished recipe has gotten. But this is a great story, actually, Kenton. This woman, she hired, there's a man in Italy who helped Vito. Vito has Base Crete Italia, and the man who runs that, Gianluca, he worked with Vito to perfect the skin microplaster. So he ended up doing a pool 5 years ago, I guess it was, in Milan, and it was one of the old kind of ugly pools that's kind of a blob shaped, and it had you remember the stairs that the stainless steel steps that were like three rungs on the ladder, and then it goes back and it ends in the pool wall. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even go all the way down, so you just go down a couple steps and then you let go, kind of like the back of a boat. You drop into the water, right? Remember those?
Right?
So that's what she had on her pool, and it was actually a vinyl liner. Now
Oh.
this is crazy too. It was a steel walled, concrete floored vinyl liner.
Mm.
So they took out the vinyl liner and they used our flex mesh. We have a fiberglass matting that can go into the skin foundation if you need it, and they put the flex mesh in with with the skin foundation, and they covered all of the steel walls with that, and then they skinned her entire pool, and it was much more beautiful at that point. And this one was in a color they call in Italy sabbia, which to me and you is sand. It's a very popular color with the the high design elements of the Italians. So they did her pool in the sabbia or the sand colored skin microplaster, and then the next year she said, "This is for the birds. I don't like going down these ladders anymore. I want to use my pool more easily." So then they took the water out and they took the ladders off, and then they used shotcrete and they made stairs in the pool, and they let the concrete cure. And 29 days later, or whatever it was, then they put the skin foundation and the skin on the stairs, and they matched exactly. And then the next year, I think it was, if I have the story in sequence, then they used the skin foundation and went over her waterline tiles, and then they
Okay.
went over her coping bricks, and they made all the grout joints disappear
Wow.
and made it all flat, and they skinned everything. And that's when I was there, was just a few months ago, I think in the fourth season, and it was just beautiful monolithic color coming out of the pool and out of the over what would have been the old kind of, sorry, dated or ugly brick brick copings,
Yeah.
and so the woman then had called him and said, "No, I want to continue with the skin microplaster on my whole patio."
Mm.
So they
Ah.
were there that year working again on her pool and putting the skin on her whole patio. Pretty
Wow.
amazing.
So now I know for me, nobody in the industry I think warranties their pool finish, because once we finish a job, we turn our back. We have no control over the water chemistry, what the client does. How does this play out with the skin product?
Well, you make a good comment there. Unfortunately, in the swimming pool industry, and every time we have built a pool for our clients over the years, we always encourage them to test their water once a week and to write it into a log, because some products say they're guaranteed for this long or that long, and the first time there's any kind of a warranty challenge, then the manufacturers will typically ask, do you have a log of your water testing, and then what you did to mitigate the tests if they were off. So we would always tell our people, keep a log, test your water once a week, and write it down
Yeah.
in case there ever is a challenge from one of the manufacturers. But our skin microplaster now is warranted for 5 years, and if you're an approved applicator, then it's 7 years.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
It's very sticky. It's very, very amazing product.
Yeah.
That this guy, I'm telling you, this guy he's a rocket scientist in the concrete world.
Now, let me just say to our guests, in case you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, so we can answer your questions. Anyone, just let's bring it in, because our time is going so quickly. Um, you know, well, right now, what we'll do, we'll look at a video that shows us how the product is actually installed. All right, and we'll be right back.
Great.
All right, so Chris, so we're back. We're back. That's
It's
amazing.
still amazing
Now,
to me whenever I watch it. Usually people are watching it over my shoulder, and when I just stare at it, I'm still. It's an amazing thing.
yeah, I mean, I see. Somebody asked, one of our local builders asked. His question is, what tool do you use to apply?
Well, there's trowels you saw in that video. There's what the pool industry calls a pool trowel, which is a metal trowel with rounded corners, and that was in the video. You can use kind of typical trowels, but most of the guys that have been doing it for all these years in Italy, they use a Lexan trowel. Lexan's a kind of a plastic. It's like what they make hockey glass out of. Only this is very, very thin. It's only 1 millimeter thin. The trowels. It depends if you're doing a curved pool or a straight walled pool a little bit on if you're using a 1 millimeter trowel or a 2 millimeter trowel. So they trowel it on by hand with these plastic trowels that when you push on the trowels, the trowels bend, right? So it's a lot less resistance than the typical steel trowel. But that's the amount of force that they like to burnish. A burnish is kind of a concrete term for a chemical reaction when the actual material has got friction against it because heat and everything, and then it adheres to the concrete and soaks into the concrete. So they burnish it in with a 1 millimeter trowel, and they just do an area at a time. And then there was a tool in there that the guy was standing up, walking back and forth with the tool on a pole, and it looks like a big giant squeegee,
Yeah,
and that is
squeegee.
what it's called, a magic trowel or a wizard trowel in our
Oh.
industry. It's made for concrete, but it is basically, it's a squeegee on steroids. And so once you use the Lexan trowels and put it on, or the steel trowels, or whatever corner or cove or flat wall that you're doing, then you just drag the magic trowel across it and take away all the extra marks that are there from tooling it in. So that's
Mm.
really mainly the two tools used. And as you saw in the beginning of your video, the guys are mixing it in a 5 gallon pail in the bottom of the pool. And that was all the material they needed for that whole pool, which is a cool story in itself. That pool's in Sarasota, Florida. And normally when they're doing pool plaster, if for people that aren't in our industry, they bring in a bunch of pallets, or at least 1 or 2 pallets of these huge bags of concrete that are 80
Yes.
pounds a stack. And you either have a truck out in front of the house pumping and mixing it, or you have guys with wheelbarrows running back and forth in your property to bring in all this volume, all this weight. And it's amazing. And when you do a pool that size, that was in the video we just watched, you just can carry in like effectively like 7 2-liter Coke bottles, right, from the grocery store. That size. You
That's
you
it.
walk in with them. Well, you walk in with the 2-liter Coke bottles of magic milk, and then you have a 7 little pails of 10 kilogram or 12 kilogram, depending on
Wow.
which one you get, powder, and you mix them together right in the bottom of the pool, and that's it.
So a
And
very small
also that
footprint.
means very small footprint, and so environmentally, it's really good that way because we use a lot less cementitious products.
Now, most other pool plasters, when you after you have applied them, you must fill the pool within a certain time frame. How does the skin microplaster relate to that? How soon do I must fill the pool up once I'm
Yeah,
finished?
that's a great question. And so when you're doing a typical pool plaster, you need to fill it right away. So I was talking about the green block in your wife's roses, the florist block earlier, soaked with water but not waterproof. And the same thing with the pool. And so then you put the plaster on it, and the plaster that you put on top of the concrete is less porous than the actual pool structure wall, because the pool plaster has a larger content of something called Portland cement, which is really the sticky stuff that we put into our concretes. The Portland cement, and it's got a lot more Portland cement. And pool plaster cannot be dry; it needs to have moisture, or it will just get all kinds of cracks because it's too much Portland for, like, if you did your sidewalk out of it, it'd be crumbled, in moments, because it needs to stay wet. So you plaster the pool with one of your typical pool plasters. Then as soon as it's done, you start putting water in it so that it can get hydrated from the water, and you have to fill the whole pool that way. Then you have to brush it a whole bunch of times, and you have to put in the right chemicals to expose the plaster finish, and that whole process is called startup, and that's really a 2 week process. Some guys get it down to 1 week. You have to be there several times a day, or the homeowner, poor homeowners, they get stuck with a lot. They have to brush the plaster a lot, and then you got to pour acids and everything in it. And also, as you're filling that pool up with the initial water, if somebody cuts the water off, or a dog drags the hose out of the pool, which may sound funny, but I've had it happen many times, then the water stops, and then they call it, in the pool industry, they call it a bathtub ring, because it burns a line in your brand new beautiful pool plaster. That later, when they put the hose back in, that line stays there, so it's called a bathtub ring. And those are all challenges with the typical pool plaster. With the skin microplaster, You finish the whole pool, and then we beg people to wait 3 days. Just wait 3 days. Now, remember I said that 2 weeks of coming back and brushing it every day and pouring in acid. And so 3 days is not too long to wait. You just wait 3 days and then put water in it, just like you want to swim in. Beautiful
No, no,
spring
no, no,
water, and
no.
set it up regular. No startup. There's no powders because remember, Kenton, it's vapor proof. There's nothing to come out of. We have
Oh
videos
my.
on our we have videos on our YouTube channel
Oh
of
my
when
God.
we were doing our freeze thaw cycles, and we were freezing samples of skin microplaster on pieces of concrete board, and we let them freeze. The certification on that test was 10 freeze thaw cycles, and really they actually got closer to 20 freeze thaw cycles, and then it became spring, and the algae started growing in this water test, and it got green all over our samples and everything, and it's on our YouTube channel. But you pick it up and wiped it with our fingers, and the algae came right off because it's vapor proof, so nothing can get in. It's amazing, isn't it?
No, no, this is mind blowing. So you're saying to me, I'm hearing benefits, benefits, benefits. So you're saying to me, you can wait 3 days before you fill the pool up,
Right?
and I mean it's more resistance against algae and stuff. Um, so because nothing is going in, I suppose, and nothing's coming out of this stuff.
No, you can actually come out. Like I said, and a lot of times in Italy, they've been going right up over the existing water line on a remodel, for example, because we're talking about breathing life into your old
Right.
project. You can make the tile disappear, and you make the coping disappear, and you run skin all the way up and out of it. It can be dry or wet, and it's beautiful either way, and it doesn't have any. So on those really high end pools where they have the vanishing edges, the negative
Yeah.
edges, the
Yeah.
perimeter overflows,
Yeah.
and that's been a real challenge in the industry because those areas can be wet that catch the water,
Or
or they can
dry.
be dry.
Mm-hmm.
So really, kind of, sort of, the only choice is to do all tile, which is very. Buying the tile itself is almost the cost of our skin microplaster, let alone having the tile set. I mean, we're not cheap compared to pool plaster, but if you
Yeah.
think about the labor and the
The
savings and
benefits.
the fact that you're waterproofing, then all of a sudden it becomes very in it very very inexpensive. But we have lots and lots of fun. In fact, we just got specified, and we're doing a project in Pennsylvania at the Sesame Street Water Park
Mm.
for all the entrances to the lazy rivers and stuff. That they're part of them are in water and part of them are out of water, and there's not really a good product to do that. But we have it. It's skin microplaster.
Hey, Mr. Gates. I mean, it's already what 5:35, 4:35 our time, and we ain't talk about undeckers yet. So, so,
Oh no, I'm sorry. We're
so,
going on and on about skin micro. We'll
so,
talk about on
so,
deck.
so, so, so I suspect. Um, oh, there's another question here. Let's see if we can take it. Do you need complete in one go? Okay. Oh, so they're asking you, do you need complete in one go, or can you stop and continue next day? Are there any
Oh,
cold
okay.
joints?
So this is going to blow this person's mind, and in yours too, probably, Kenton. There have been some specialty products that they could do magic on your pool. They said, but you had to do it all within 24 hours, or you had to
Right.
complete everything within 4 days, or yada yada yada. So skin microplaster, you could do the walls today. You could go on a cruise for a week and come back and
No
finish the
way.
floor later. Yep, yep, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So no, you don't need to complete it all at once at all. But I do highly recommend. Okay, here's some things. When you're applying the skin microplaster, it's so amazingly forgiving once you learn how it cures. Like if you go along and you're troweling it on and magic troweling it on, and then you realize way back where you started, you have a trowel mark and you want to be able to, it's a bump. If you go back and try to fix it with your trowels, it'll stick to your trowels and you'll go backwards. So you just leave it alone and keep going. And then as the skin microplaster starts to cure, you just need to go up with your thumbnail or the corner of your Lexan trowel and just lightly scrape that bump, and it comes right off. So our aggregate, it's called, what you mix with our polymers, our live polymers, which are made in a reactor, by the way. The way that they cure as the time goes by, at every one of the little aggregates, it's more like flour than it is like sand. In concrete, we're used to sand and gravel and rocks as our aggregate, but in the micro skin microplaster, you put your whole hand into the powder or the aggregate mix, and it's like flour. It feels just like flour, but every single little molecule, nanoparticle of the aggregate is baked on color. So the color is on every little piece. So when you scrape it with to get a little ridge or something on it, it's the exact same color behind it. Yeah.
I mean, this product is really and truly, I think it's a revolution. This product is
It,
really
well, we
excellent
feel like it
looking.
is too, and it's been Vito's dream for many years. He revolutionized the whole concept of waterproofing concrete pools, and like I said, for I don't know if it's been 12 years he's been working on the on deck and the skin microplaster. He's not new at it.
Well, I suspect we would have time to talk about on deck. Uh, I mean, this is some of the colors. This is some of the colors they can get from the skin. Um, I don't know if you want to walk us through any of the colors here, but I mean, I saw them on Friday and they are all beautiful. And plus, Mr. Gates, you can also sand them down, isn't it? The finish.
Well, you can sand them when right as it's curing, like I was talking about. As you learn the product, if you're an applicator, as you start to realize you could scrape off a little incongruity. But similarly, at the end, just lightly with your hand and a piece of emery cloth, you can sand the finishes and make them even more fine if you choose to. So on a pool wall, you're sitting there where you're kicking your heels against, sitting on the edge of the pool, and your heels are touching the wall of the pool, and you're dangling your feet in the water. Reach your hand down, and it's just baby bottom smooth. But then when you step down onto the first step of the stair, you might not want it to be that smooth. So you don't have to finish it the same way. You can have a little grit to it, so you can change the finish from baby bottom smooth to like a little gription around your pool edges or in the water on your stairs.
Wow. Here's a question for you. How about let me put it back up. Over existing paint.
Well, okay, so we will probably stick to the paint. So far, we have really great independent lab test results of 100 plus pounds per square inch on polypropylene plastic. Kenton, that's the stuff that milk jugs come in, and milk comes. The jugs in the U.S. are poly. It's one of the most slippery plastic. We stick to
Yes.
that. We're sticking to fiberglass. We're going inside stainless steel pools, and so and we have a little acrylic in our patented magic milk. So usually we'll stick no problem to paint. The issue is if the paint falls off,
Yes.
we'll be on the bottom of the pool stuck to the paint. So the answer is we'll stick to the paint more than likely, depending on what the paint is. We haven't found any paint we don't stick to actually,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to make sure the paint is solidly adhered to the pool.
Yeah.
We actually stick to fiberglass. We stick to an amazing amount of things.
All right. Now let's if so I guess maybe we can quickly go into the on deck. Um,
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah. So let's
Yeah, so
quickly.
on deck waterproofing is made also the same way. The same man invented it, and the same science is in it, and manufactured also by Basecrete Technologies. And skin microplaster was an answer to being under the water all the time, and also not under the water some of the time or all of the time. And then on deck waterproofing is an answer to in Florida. Remember, unfortunately, a year before last one, that big giant condominium collapsed and
Yes.
overnight and all that stuff. So now there's laws here. I'm in Florida right now. There's laws now getting the codes being changed where you have to waterproof rooftops and balconies, and they don't want. See, water can migrate up to 3 miles inside of concrete, and that I mean, think of 3 miles. You go for a walk and you're sweating. You know what I mean? But think of your building you live in, 3 miles of water tripping around in your walls or your ceilings or your roofs because water just finds its way. And then there's gravity and it's hydrology. So the water moves around, it can migrate up to 3 miles. And so now they want it all waterproofed. And we're the only product, actually, the Basecrete Technologies line, which is
Yes.
Basecrete skin, microplaster, and on deck waterproofing. We're the only people on the list right now as an approved material to do all those waterproofings. But it's also both skin and on deck waterproofing are wearable surface, Kenton, which means they're finishes. So say you had a outdoor patio on a rooftop and it was all like 30-year-old ceramic tile that was really ugly. you could go over it and make all the tile disappear, and it could be all on deck, and it would be waterproof now. It'd be beautiful, and it'd be wearable surface, so you could have your dance floor out there in your bar, and people could be hanging out, or your lounge chairs, or whatever you wanted to have. We were doing parking ramps, and we're doing driveways and all kinds of things. So that was why Video invented the on deck waterproofing, was for a wearable surface waterproof.
All right, well, let's go to a fast video, and then we'll come back on
Great.
that point. Yeah, so that's on deck, and I think that product is also amazing because you, as you were saying, you can actually waterproof your deck, and on Friday they were showing me now, it goes on your walls as well.
Goes on your walls. You can do house foundations. You can do floors, garages. And I was watching the video, and there's a point in it that it can go horizontal or vertical, the same mix. So you could take a old block wall and make all the blocks disappear and have your beautiful finish on it, and it'd be waterproofed. So it is very, very versatile, very amazing.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, we ain't really touched it yet. Our time is expiring, but let me give folks who has a question. They want to ask a question about a product. Please send in your questions. We'll seek to answer them as we wind down today. But the skin is really amazing. So therefore, I'm hearing you saying um, no more need to do a waterline with tiles. You can just do skin all the way with the product.
Correct.
Uh,
In fact, you can actually go over, if it's solid and you're doing a remodel, you can just cover up the old, like, dated waterline tile and make it all beautiful and smooth again. So in the old days, when we made concrete pools, the strongest thing we had to make pools in, and then where the water stopped and met the oxygen of the air, then the air and the water and all the chemical jive going on would deteriorate the concrete even. And so somehow back, 100 years ago, we figured out we could put these baked tiles right there, and that reaction wouldn't occur. Hence waterline tile. But yeah, skin is impervious and vapor proof, and you do not need a waterline tile unless you choose to have one for aesthetics.
mm, amazing, amazing, amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I can go on with this product.
Well, you got to keep excited about it, Kent, and maybe I'll come show you my stuff down there. I heard you guys have quite a jazz festival in May.
Yes, we do, we do, we
Uh,
do. Um,
I might need to come down there and groove on some music and show you some skin, my friend.
you see, you see, question for you. How about if you have movement in the concrete? Is it flexible?
Well, okay, so yes, the product is independent lab test 33%. I said that right. 33% flexibility. I wish I had a
Wow.
piece in front of me I could bend it for you. So there is flexibility, but Basecrete also has a patented
Yes.
crack repair called a slab stitch. It's a way of mechanically repairing structural cracks. And so if you have shrinkage cracks or small crack in joints, then you use the skin foundation or the on deck on base, and you use our flex mesh and you cover it up, and that integrates our system over the cracks. But if you have a structural serious crack in your driveway, your parking ramp, the side of your pool, then you need to address it from an engineering standpoint and use slab stitches in it, and then go right over it with our stuff. So yes and no, depends on the crack, but
Yeah.
absolutely, shrinkage cracks and everything, they go away.
Okay. Yeah, because of course, in St. Lucia, we do have tremors and earthquakes. So sometimes you have movements, or the pool is built and then it settles. So you get those type of scenarios coming through as well.
That's right. And 33% is probably more flexibility than all the rest of the materials on the job site. So if a concrete shell moves 33% or a sidewalk gets bent a third down, it's going to be cracked. You know what I mean? So we're more flexible than all the materials that we get used with.
Mr. Gates, I don't. I'm hearing the benefits. I'm hearing what it can do is versatile. All the benefits. Why wouldn't I want to use this product? I mean, why wouldn't I? What's the downside if there is to the product? I don't think there
Well, we
is.
don't feel like there is a downside, but the initial flag people see are the price. Everyone wants to break down how much does the house cost per square foot or the pool cost per linear foot. So we are more expensive than some other products, but then if you
Hmm.
amortize the labor savings and the value of the waterproofing and everything against it, also now it's very inexpensive. The real downside in our industry, unfortunately, this is most of the time we pull products for swimming pools out of the construction field, and the construction field is all the R&D, and they have come up with these great products, and then some bright people like yourself say, oh, this would be great in swimming pools, and then we bring it out of the construction industry into swimming pools. Well, veto's in swimming pools, and so these products are coming out of the swimming pool industry and now they're going into the construction industry. But so we're kind of leading the pack. So it's technology, and some people don't want an iPhone; they want to stick with their old Samsung. Whatever their deal is, people have different hangups on technology. And then, unfortunately, in the swimming pool industry, there's that old saying that I personally just don't like to hear is, well, that's the way we've always done it. So that's
Nah.
really the downside. But
Yeah.
we're advancing the swimming pool industry. Everyone's studying with Genesis and with Water Shape and all these different universities to learn to build better pools. And it's just an advancement in technology. It's 2023. Things are moving up. So that's really, you have to embrace a little bit different methodology and then a different way of looking at your cost values. And then you realize that you're really, another part of the breathing life into pools is that you're protecting the people's products from being soaked in water and chemicals. And there's been nothing like that forever. So it is new. And that's really the only downside, Ken.
Yeah, someone asked about cost difference between direct and this product. I mean, to me, the value it offers far outweighs whatever because one, your waterproofing, it allows you flexibility in terms of application. It goes over pretty much everything. A smaller footprint to carry, smaller load to carry. So, whereas you're carrying a pallet of plaster, now you're carrying just what a box or something of this material. Storage is less. So I
Shipping
mean,
is less.
shipping is less. I mean, so it's and also no other plasters I know about offers you some sort of guarantee, but this product it does. And so for the builder, the homeowner, I think it's a win-win when it comes to the product. And of course, let me just show the folks again some of the colors. I think the colors to me are really and truly fantastic. I love the sapphire blue, but then
Yes, beautiful.
we have some of the colors there
And
that one
right
can
down
choose
below that,
from.
I love the lighter green. To me, that
Green grass.
anyway, there's just, as you mix the blues from the sky with your water, there's just amazing. Tobacco is very popular. Sand is popular. I've seen one of the rose pools, a red
Hmm.
pool. It does phenomenal things with blue, a light bouncing around the sky.
The color is
They
nice
are
too,
phenomenal and beautiful colors. Thank
and
you very
and
much.
and also one can also two tone their pool, so I can do my waterline in a different skin if I want to, if I
You
want to as
absolutely,
well.
you could do a stairs one color and then the risers to the stairs the rest of the colors. You could see where you're going more easily. And absolutely, we have a
Awesome.
mosaicist and she's going to start using skin microplaster in the bottom of pools and doing artwork. So, and we have a really famous uh, mosaicist who's traveled all over the world doing pools from Russia to Italy to the United States, and he's using skin right now to see what creative juices get livened by skin microplaster.
Mr. Gates, our time has come and gone. I want to thank you very, very much for your time. And thank you very much for sharing with us some of your knowledge. And I hope at some point we can have you back again because we
Well,
got to talk
I would love
about
that.
we need to talk about on deck. We just touch on deck. I want us to go more in depth with on deck. So next time maybe we can really give us some airtime. And as we come to a close, if there are any last questions, put them in now. Mr. Giss is here. He's the man. He's the man. You need to put them to. And as you can hear, everything we have posted to him, skin microplaster far outweighs what we thought about. The product is just fantastic, and of course, royalty pools. We are excited and we are looking forward to our first shipment with you, Mr. Gates, so we can have this on island, so we can begin applying this thing. So
Well, we're so glad to be working with Royalty Pools, and Easy Swimming Pool Answers is a phenomenal medium, and you're doing a great service. And like I said, I hope it all works out that we could come to the
yes,
beautiful St. Lucia during the
yes,
Jazz Festival. I mean, why not?
yes.
I mean,
Why not? Sting will be there.
thank you, thank you so much for having us, and we appreciate it very much, Ken.
Yes, yes. So as folks, as we close out, we're going to show you a few videos. And here is one. Here's a full-on video of that Capri project. Mr. Gates, bye. Thank you for being on.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Orange. Dot, 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 dot.
Yes, folks. Thanks for being on today. As you can hear, this product is just absolutely and fantastic. And by the way, it's a very, 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 very safe product. So, I mean, it's used in hospitals as well. So this product is absolutely a safe product for the swimmer, for the user. So it's something that I think it far outweighs other products, and it is worth the investment. It is worth the go. And for my builders and applicators, here is a product you can offer your client that is versatile, unique, and you can, I mean, you can go over again the video and you can hear all the benefits this has to offer. So thanks for being on. And if it's Sunday, it's Eastwood Pool Answers. We do have other great shows in store for you, and we do have a special guest who's eager to come on. Our next guest will be talking all about leak detection, leaks, how to find solve leaks. But guess what? If you're using this product, you're going to eliminate your structural issues. All right. So stay tuned. Remember to subscribe to the link so you never miss another show again. If it's Sunday, the place to be for your swimming pool questions and answers. Until then, enjoy your Sunday, and I'm out.